Hello, hello, welcome in everybody. Hopefully you're doing well. So today we are going to do a reading in regards to how can you improve a situation or an object or a thing or a relationship, something around those lines. So this will really be touching into what can you do to help remedy something or improve, right? Or make it even more amazing. So it doesn't have to be anything that's going wrong. This is just how it's coming through. Also, these lights are coming through, so a lot of sun energy coming through with this reading. So maybe that'll help you pick, maybe it won't. Regardless, the sun's here for this reading. Okay, so let's get your piles. My intention is to really bring you a message to help support a situation, to maintain it, to improve it, to even get more benefit or abundance out of what's going on in your life right now. Okay. Cards want to jump out now. Take you. Where's the right spot? This one's going to have the light on it. They all have the light on it. Alright, so for pile number 1, you have Rhodochrosite. This has a message of service, contentment, healing emotional wounds, renewal of passion. Okay. For pile number 2, you have Malachite with pain relief, transformation, vision, and powerful protection. And lastly, for pile 3, you have orange calcite with boosting self-esteem, expressing sexuality, psychological healing, and energetic living. All right, I'm going to leave these here for you. Take your time, think of the situation if that's going to help. The situation, the thing, the relationship, the person that you want to have an improved kind of life or vision with whatever this is that's going on in your mind. So I'll leave you here. Go into the description to jump straight to your videos. Otherwise, I'll see you in your reading. Hello, hello, welcome, pile number 1. So you've chosen the beautiful crystalline red Rhodochrosite. This has a message of service, contentment, healing emotional wounds, and renewal of passions, or renewal of passion. Okay, really interesting one here. I have literally no clue of what was really coming through when this pile was picked. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out and how it relates to your situation. Remember, this is about helping or improving a situation. So it's like rebuilding connections, helping yourself in a work situation, or so it doesn't have to be anything's going wrong or badly. It's just about improvement. And everywhere in our life can have like little improvements, right? Even if they're small or big, an improvement is an improvement. Okay, so let's start collecting some cards. It does feel like bringing more heart energy into this. There was like a slight thing that I got with this, which was about, it says renewal of passion, which is, it does feel like bringing in heart, but it's also about understanding at a core level, like going very, very truly within to ask, what does an improvement of this particular event, situation, etc. really look like? What does that feel like to me? Because improving a situation could be leaving it, right? For some people, for other people, it could be adding some more flair or interest into it, or changing how you approach it, or changing how you see it, because it could be seen as very negative when it's neutral, right? Until we decide to add a meaning to it. So there's a lot of like introspective kind of like comprehension, because sometimes we play on default and our default might be this is bad no matter what it is. There might be a way of questioning that or looking at that, and I feel like that is true to this reading. Okay, well, that was interesting. Now, I will say, because this is healing emotional wounds, it's not to say that whatever occurred was a good thing, right? It's not saying that's okay now because, I don't know, X, Y, Z. It's definitely not saying that. It's more like trying to, I guess, reframe how we view the situation, or starting to at least agree to move beyond it, especially if it is focusing for you around the healing emotional wounds. You have to put what occurred or the situation into the light before you can truly overcome it, I guess, or move beyond it, is probably a better word. Evolve from it. Okay, there's a lot of these cards coming through. This is the Enchanted Maps, so this is about, you know, forging forward. I think we're going to have a lot of Oracle cards today. That's fine. Yeah, these are coming through really easy. This feels like a very practical reading, I guess is the best way I can put it. I don't know if these are going to fit. I feel like if we can put 6 in here, if we just slip them in. This is the good thing about these mini pocket tarot cards that you can buy now. A lot of the companies are making pocket size. It's really handy for traveling, if you travel. Also, if you do readings on stream. Because you can slot in a few more extras. So, lots of cards here. Let's take a look at your reading today. You have the Royal Baby and the Silver Spoon. This is Inner Child, Regal, and Joy. This definitely is, like, when I was talking about, you know, it has to come from like how you perceive or view it. And it's interesting when we're talking about the past, right? Because everyone is a baby at some point. It is talking about Royal Baby and Silver Spoon. That doesn't mean you came from wealth or anything like that. This is just talking to really that inner child aspect, that one who has imagination and play, you know, that kind of thing, like fun and excitement, I guess is the best way I can put it. And I feel like finding peace in what has been, especially if it's no longer in your life, if it's a situation that you want to improve, like mentally, this is where it's at. It's getting back into that joy. Sometimes service can do that too, because we're giving back and we feel like we need it, but also when we give, we get. So it's like killing two birds with one stone? Probably not the best analogy, but you know what I mean? Like it's a double improvement when it didn't look like that was going to be the way. So that's really, really nice. There is also an aspect of taking the high road. So if it's to move on beyond a situation that was challenging, it's instead of being sucked back into the past or the old ways, this is being like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going not going to change my attitude to match yours. Does that make sense? I hope. Okay, let's flip these ones since there's so many. Now you've got Wizard of Awareness. This one is reversed. I might keep it up reversed. You have the Dragon's Lair. Yeah, you really do need to go within, like not just within, but it has to be, there's no like, I guess there's no easy path. It has to be section by section and time by time, like slowly but surely. Anyway, I'll flip these cards before I keep going into it. These are all reversed. Sad Embrace. And then we've got the wishing well, of course, one is upright since I said they're all reversed. Okay, but that's good. Wishing well is really nice. It does also mean like, it does feel like, you know, what you put in, you get out. When you throw like a coin and make a wish, you know, the wish comes through or comes out in some way. And if the intention is like in the way that serves my highest good, you know, it's going to come through in that sense. It's going to be an opportunity or however. So this is keeping on positive, the positive side, the positive mental mindset of whatever you're working on or wanting to improve. If it is something from the past, there is a very honest, like you can't be aware of it if you block it, or you can't be, how is it? It can't be looked at if it's in the dark. You can't hide it in the corner of the room and turn the lights off. This has to be turning the lights on and shining a spotlight on it, even if it is difficult or painful. I say that cautiously, of course. If something's really, really challenging, then you want to go to a professional or to seek assistance elsewhere if it's too hard to process within. But these are still the steps that will help you improve the situation, or at least improve your own mental kind of like fortitude and health. The Dragon's Lair is interesting. This is talking about red flags. This isn't repeating old patterns. This is being very much like aware, like literally next to the Wizard of Awareness, because the Wizard of Awareness, when he's reversed, is kind of like he's aware, but he's not wanting to acknowledge. It's like, if I don't acknowledge that there's a cat in the room or a dog in the room, then there won't be. That can work maybe sometimes if the cat or the dog just walk through, but you know, they're probably going to get your attention by making a sound or scratching or like, you know, wanting pats or something. It's not something that you can just ignore. So this is about being realistic and noticing them. Sometimes if we just keep ignoring it, that turns into a red flag for us within ourselves of like avoidance. To process grief or change, you have to actually feel the feelings that are flowing. Again, I would say take it slowly though, of course. Every little improvement is a blessing, because you're not really here with this reading to get into a place where you're like mega rich, right, or anything like that. You want to be in a place where you feel content within the mind, body, soul, and also within the 3D and the reality, I guess. I think that's all from these cards. I was just trying to see, but we'll get more information, of course. You also have the Heart Chakra Gateway, Love Capacity and Expansion. This is really beautiful because it's really just saying that this is all about opening you up from the heart center way. This isn't about putting you through pain and trauma for no reason. You've already gone through the challenges, or you've already gone through what you've gone through in life, let's just say, or you've already done the work. Like if we were just talking about a work situation, I'd say you've done the work to get to where you are. If that's not exactly where you want to, let's have a look. Is it because of how I look at things, or am I just viewing things in a negative way, or is that there's something that I'm just really not vibing with and I need to move beyond or move out or move sideways or something, like try something different. Okay. But yeah, love and capacity, love and expansion capacity. This is all within you to grow from the challenges and the different things that have occurred in life. This is about overcoming, almost seeing the world or the 3D as just a, what would you say? Kind of like a demo. It's just like, this isn't the real life, I guess. This is just what's coming into my head. So it's like, this isn't the real life. This is just a demo. So if it's just a demo, why don't I just put all my eggs into not one basket, but why don't I just like spread my energy around into different areas, or just do that thing that's going to help the situation. Just suck it up and start processing it, looking at it, dealing with it, or at least acknowledging it and becoming observant of how it impacts my life, because that's really important as well. How our past or our trauma or our like good things, you know, all that stuff, our teachings in life, how it impacts us in this moment, in this time, because this is about improving things for you right now. Whether you're listening to this in 3 years, like tomorrow, you know, whenever, this is about improving life now. And it's all about living in like that from the heart space, not letting the external pull you into what they feel is right or where you should be. You decide where you should be, not a past situation, not a person in the now. Okay, so you've got code keepers, be in love. This does feel like, you know, you got the heart chakra gateway and also the code keepers of divine love. This is all about self-care, self-love, connection with self, connection with other people, all that kind of thing. This is honestly about processing some of the stuff. Sometimes we get into a mindset of like, oh, I was like treated lesser than, so now I have to balance that, I need to be like super on the opposite end and start like almost being harsh towards like the other opposite gender or same gender, we know, whatever, those type of people, because that's going to help balance me. And it doesn't have to be like that. The way we can balance is an internal job. No, it doesn't have to be external, because it's almost giving power away, even though it feels like being powerful. It's like, you know, real sassy kind of people or something like that. I mean, it's fine being sassy, right, in time, but like if it's overdone, it can kind of just come across as mean and rude. And so that's generally something that they need to deal with. It's not because of the external person that they're targeting or anything like that. There's something that needs to be cleared. And I think this is like where it's coming out as. Okay, let's take a look at the tarot. Got the Page of Cups. This is getting back into the heart space for sure. Like there's a lot of heart-centered energy here. And you've got the Page of Cups. You can see this guy flying as well. It might feel like it's a big job, and that's why I would say, depending on what you're thinking about, take your time with it. Even if it's just like adding a little bit of, I don't know, volunteering into your life, you know, or rekindling your love of life or your love of job, or finding someone in your life to have a relationship or a connection with. There is like an aspect of privilege here. And I don't want to say it in a way that you'll think is like you're saying you're privileged or anything, but you have, when I say privilege, I mean like an opportunity to move beyond. Like this is a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to have that opportunity. Because some people don't have that opportunity in this moment. This is a good moment now. You might not have it in a year's time or a week's time or something like that, but right now, whenever you're watching this, you have an opportunity to move into a more peaceful, content position in life and start to feel more like you, like truly who you are. Got the Queen of Wands. Yeah, this is literally renewing passions. The Queen of Wands is learning to love herself, not through the energy of the external, so not by pulling other people up and trying to sort their lives out or trying to drag them down to our level. You know, it's about focusing on self. And she doesn't really necessarily bother herself with how, like, the ideal Queen of Wands, with how other people are thinking of her. She knows her value, she knows her worth, and that's what's important. Knowing your own worth, because then you'll see these red flags as they come in. You have the Page of Wands. Again, that feels like this is something, especially with these two pages in alignment, this is renewing passions, love. That's basically it. Emotional connections, like rekindling the fire. You haven't lost anything. Everything is still there. You haven't lost it. Even here, this feeling of fun and completion, I feel, with this particular sun. You know, her arms are wide open. This is feeling like herself again, getting back in touch with people that are like connected instead of it's kind of funny the way it's looking. It's like a whole, like you might have like I don't know if this is you specifically, but you might have like the situation is that I can see is like a whole group of people, and like they're they're, you know, whoever they are, they're like a whole group of friends, and instead of like talking and having real conversations, they're just kind of talking at each other. They're like blurting this up, blurting that up, blurting this up, blurting that up, blurting this up, blurting that up, when really all that is probably not what I mean. It probably helps because they get into like, okay, I've released that, at least I've spoken truth to it, but it doesn't feel like that's helping. Like there's no real connection. I think this is getting back into real connection, because then you'll be aware of like all the things that aren't real connections. They're just this like verbal diarrhea dump type thing. Sorry for the image, but you know, like it's just a dumping ground of blurting out stuff. That's where I think you're moving beyond or out of. Now, how that relates to every situation, gonna have to have some creative thinking here. Yeah, this is taking time with it. Like in time, enlightenment comes, like understanding, comprehension comes. It's not about understanding like why people did what they did. It's more like understanding what's important in my life is moving towards this and not focusing on that. I feel like you'll absolutely be there. Oh. I feel like this Temperance card is embracing all that you are. You can see like this angelic being, this light in the background, the sun, the moon. And I was watching astrology, and I watched two different astrologers online, and one is focused on sidereal and one is focused on well, many things honestly, but generally in the tropical. And so it's interesting with the sun being here and the moon, because one does more focus on what's your moon sign type thing with sidereal or Vedic, and then especially Vedic, and then the tropicals really, you know, people will say, oh, I'm a this sign, I'm a that sign, when that's just their sun sign, right? That's not everything. That I'm too like caught up into that kind of stuff, but it's interesting to know what's happening because there's a lot that can be read from astrology. Anywho, the purpose of me going on and on about that is really to see all sides as having truth or having meaning, and not being like one way is the right way. You know, people believe in a particular offshoot of Christianity or something, and it's like that's the right one, the rest are all going to hell or whatever, you know, people believe these days. And it's really seeing that everyone, like, you know, stepping out of that little box and going, okay, everyone is just trying to do their best, right? And go towards it. Do I need to focus on telling people what they're doing wrong, or do I need to focus on myself? Do I need to put energy or support here to not exactly direct them into what I believe, but to help them improve their life? Because I feel like that's more important, helping improve things, helping, like we're literally talking about helping improve, but helping improve life or quality of life is really more of a goal than telling people what they should do or what they should believe in, because that's not going to help you. It's just putting pressure, or it's putting stigma onto whatever they're doing. It's like you're living life wrong type thing, which is not true. Anyway, so really lovely cards coming through here. I feel like how, you know, I'm going to try to sum it up, but how can you help improve a situation or a relationship, etc., etc. There's a lot of inner child here with the sun, and, well, not a lot, but, you know, there's these two cards, the royal baby coming through and the sun card, really touching on our truth and getting back to who we truly are, because the events that have occurred have shaped us, but they don't own us. They don't tell us who we are. They just help guide us to what we want to be, or what we don't want to be, or what we want in our life or what we don't want in our life. When we surrender to, I feel like there's two sides of surrender. Surrendering to like the flow of energy of life, that's one thing. Surrendering to you know, how the world works and what the world tells me is right and wrong, what I consume, that's a whole nother story. You're here to really help grow, I guess, your heart chakra, or like help that, like start making decisions from that soul center. What's your truth is really important here. And that's how you can start clearing some of this, like acknowledging what's keeping you feeling in a particular way or stuck with this situation, noticing the red flags, being aware so you can see the red flags, right? Like that kind of thing. And not feeling like dreams and hopes and things like that are impossible. You have to work on that mindset, because it's very, very true and it's possible. It's going to take some effort and work, but you know you chose this pile, and improving situations is going to push us outside of our box we live in, etc. Anyway, that's your reading pile number 1. So really, really, really nice. This is about sparking, you know, desire and passion within self, love of life back into the situation, and you can only do that with honest intentions and work. So good luck to you with this one. Hopefully this helps. Any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Hello, hello, pile number 2. So you've chosen the green. This kind of reminds me of like, you know, sand dunes or something with the, what do you call it, striations? Anyway, you've chosen Malachite with pain relief, transformation, vision, and powerful protection. I feel like this pile is going to be the, more of focused on like something heavy, like something difficult, I would say. So with that, we will pull some cards. Now remember, this is in regards to improving a situation. So it might be something that has layers, like an onion. It's like, it's not just as easy as like, this happened. It's like this that led to this, or this, then also then this happened, and then this, and then this, and then this. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. But how do you peel an onion? One layer at a time. You don't, well, you know, this is like this, more of like a saying I'm saying, obviously. You can just cut it up or do whatever you want. But, you know, it takes, you have to peel the onion to get into where the core of the situation is. If you look at the whole onion, like it'll take a while to like peel it, then you'll be in the procrastination. This is about making some headway in that onion. I don't know why I keep talking about an onion, but you know what I mean. Like layer by layer. Okay. Now this one is taking a lot of the card's space today, so I think I'll continue just as I did with the first pile. Now, pile 2, this one is the Enchanted Maps, so it's going to help really like station out or plan out a pathway. Now these are coming out upright and reverse. I'm going to take them how they come through and interpret them how I feel is correct, as always. It's almost like this, you've had like, this is like a last resort type situation feeling with this situation. Like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what I want to do with it almost, or I don't know how to move beyond it, or I'm not sure. That's kind of like the vibe. Probably because it does say pain relief and transformation, so this is about healing and moving beyond, right? So it would be some stuff that takes time. There is definitely no rush. Remember, these are always opportunities, especially in this reading. This isn't about something that's going to happen. This is about you taking mindful steps towards progress, essentially. Okay, this one. All right, all the cards came through pretty cleanly on that one. All right, let's take a look at your cards today. So if you chose pile number 2, your first card is the Mentalist and Destiny Knot. This is knowing, strong intuition, and destiny. This is why it's probably challenging, because you're with where in the last pile, I know I have to keep talking about it, but there was like kind of like something similar there that's popping through now, whereas that one was like kind of avoidance. This is knowing but also like it's kind of like having everything you need to start helping or improving the situation, but there's a part that's almost like not knowing. It's really hard to kind of fathom out. It's like, I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I want to do it or if I can, or something like that. I don't know where to start. So we'll have a look at that. But this is definitely part of your soul plan for sure. You to not just do whatever comes out, but really think about this. This is part of like a story that's been themed out in past lives. Interesting that we're talking about pile 1. This one came through. This is the wishing well. So it's almost, I don't know if it's like not seeing a sign or a light. There's something with that. I'll have a look at that in a sec. Definitely stuck in the mud kind of feeling. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, this one came out in pile number 1 too. You might be drawn to that if you were. It was a big pile, but check that out if you were. If not, I'll stop talking about it. And then you've got follow the leader. I will say this, you're not really here to, especially in regards to this situation, you're not here to follow. It's reversed. It's like, that is not what you're meant to do. You're not meant to go down a path of what someone else has already walked. This is taking your own steps. The stuck in the mud is a good time to contemplate and think. Like, I know I was talking about this isn't a time to procrastinate, and procrastination is trying to figure out all the scenarios that could happen. Stuck in the mud contemplation is like a time to stop and think about what I can do right this second. Not what's going to lead to XYZ. It's like, what's going to help improve the situation right now? Have I kind of like changed or shifted some of the dreams? That's okay as well. This isn't about sticking to what you planned when, you know, how some people, I've watched some stuff where these young people, especially when I was young, and they had like their whole day planned out and they had to do this and that and the other. And I was just like, that is definitely not me. I was like, I go home and just chill. Like, you know, and I'll do homework maybe, you know, and I found it like very different. And maybe that helps with like fitting into life, right? But you're not here to follow. And that's kind of like why I think that was popping up for this reading is I didn't follow that. I didn't follow what I was supposed to do. I did what I felt what like was right for me. Sometimes that led into not getting productive and getting things done, but you know, it was still like, then I got the consequences from that, right? So I feel like that's how it's kind of coming through. The Dragon's Lair does feel like it's going to take some time to thaw out this, and that's fine because you've already got stuck in the mud. There's no rush with this. This one can also be like just an alert, not like a red flag, but just more like be mindful of each stage, each step, each onion layer, because if you start like tearing up because it's an onion, right, then it's time to take it and reflect. Do I want to keep going forward right now, or do I need to take a break? So break out and go your own way is really how I feel. The dream and the wish that you had maybe a long time ago, doing things in a particular way, how can you improve it? Like, even if it's like financially, it has to be done through or from your own mind. You can't keep cycling around the sticky pile hoping something will just change. This is going to take actual effort and transformation. This isn't transformation that just happens. This is transformation from your effort, from your own soul, like strength, I guess is the best way I can put it. All right, so you have the Ocean Oracle with Cultivate Creativity. Absolutely, card number 1 too. So that feels like, you know, the beginning of this deck. And Cultivate Creativity, this is really about trusting your own uniqueness. Like you have like this power, I feel, with the Mentalist. The Mentalist is like, if you've ever seen the TV show, can kind of like do whatever. Kind of like just sit in a helicopter and use an helicopter pilot. You know what I mean? It's kind of silly in some sense, but it is kind of true. Like you're able to, I would say if you did your human design, you might be a type, like there's like numbers, and I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a type, I think. And one of them is like a 2, and the 2 is the Hermit. And the Hermit is usually someone who is really skilled, but doesn't see it. And so people from the outside say, wow, you're really good at that. And they'll be like, like, you know what I mean? They'll be like, that's just normal type thing, but they don't think that that's, yeah. So, I mean, there's more to it than that, but that's kind of where this is coming from. There's like, you have a power, just don't always see it, but people might tell you that. Listen to what they're saying. There's like hints and tips and in there. They're like, oh, okay, maybe there is something here. Okay. And you also have Code Keepers of Divine Love, card number 2, I think. Maybe it's 11. I think it's Roman numerals. It's either 2 or 11. Anyway, regardless, 1, 1, 1. You've got Code Keepers, Divine Love, Be in Love. You have to enjoy what you're doing with this particular topic that you've thought of. Whatever this is, especially if it's around like work or like, what else would it be that really kind of calls? Like hobbies? Passions, artwork, creativity, definitely you have to be in love with it. You have to enjoy it. This has to be something that is unique to you and that you bring out yourself. This isn't about following a leader. This is about your own breakthrough and your own path. And why not? All right. So you've got the 7 of Pentacles. Like I said, take your time with this layer by layer. The onion is peeled layer by layer. The plant doesn't grow into a tree immediately after you sow the seed. It has to grow roots, has to be nourished, has to be fed. Then it goes its first leaves. It gets that, starts to photosynthesize and create its own source of energy, all that kind of stuff. You also have Temperance card coming through, this balance. There is no, I would say there is no wrong path here. You might be thinking, but what's the right path? I would feel like the only wrong path is not picking a path. The right path is picking a path and believing in self that you can create this. Temperance does touch on balance, right? Earthly and spiritually, dark and light, inner and outer. You know, our sun sign is like sometimes our karma is from our external, what we radiate and what we're like, our gifts are. And then the moon is like sometimes our shadow, sometimes it's more around our inner. So all this is included. There is no focusing on one or the other. This is embracing all aspects of who you are. You've got the Hierophant coming through. I like this Hierophant because it's more modern age. You know, the Hierophant in the old ones is kind of looks like a pope or something, which is just very, very specific. Now it's feeling more enlightened, and also it doesn't feel like a general, like you have to be this qualified kind of figure or this voted in, you're all Hierophants type thing. You're all capable and of like combining all aspects of self, which I've already gone on about, but even like taking in all, what am I trying to say? I know what I'm trying to say, it's really annoying. What I'm trying to say is, you know, if you go somewhere and let's say you're like in the sky, like in spirit, an angel type thing, and you see all these religions, it's kind of like going, what would be the best way to help improve or put into earth a new religion? And it's kind of like, well, let's take the best and the qualities that really are important from all of them and kind of put that in. And it's kind of like having your own spiritual self realization. So that's really where it's coming from. This has to be, you know, you have to be disciplined within your own kind of like fortitude or decision making with regards to the situation you've got in mind, but also it has to come from you, not from external. So you can take energy from bits other places, but it's not about following one particular sign or one particular person or one particular guru, right, or anything like that. This is about finding your own magic within what's on offer, taking what resonates, leaving what doesn't. It's just like this reading. If Stuck in the Mud really stood out and that's the main thing, then take that, because this is all about trusting your own fortitude and belief. Yeah, you've got 3 of Wands. This is divine timing almost, kind of feeling like she is, like in the most basic or like grounded sense, she's waiting for a swell that she can see and then go down and catch that wave. So she can read the ocean. She understands it. That's why I'm like, you already are very acute or like aware of what's happening, very in tuned. Maybe not physically, but spiritually or Intuitively, absolutely. And people might see her and think, how can she read the waves? She's a witch type thing, you know what I mean? But maybe back in the day, but really she just understands the language of the ocean. So it's about understanding, comprehending the language rather than people saying, you can't read that or you can't do that. Who cares what they think? This is not about them. This reading has nothing to do with anybody external. Like how you can improve it, right? This is about you deciding, and that's the key here. You've got the Justice card. This is kind of interesting, especially with this dark kind of shadow aspect. I would say just because you choose the right path, especially with the 1-1 coming through again, so like 1-1-1, like there's a lot of ones. Anyway. Yeah, so the Justice card coming through with this kind of shadow side. I would say that just because you do the right thing or do like have intentions to improve a situation, that doesn't mean the other parties are going to necessarily comply. However, that's not actually the point. The whole point of this reading and the message today is for you to make the decision that is based off what you feel is right. You know, obviously not hurting anyone else involved necessarily, but doing what you feel is correct for you. That's really important here because you will win. It might not feel like you will win in the particular moment, but that level of energy or that truth that you've decided to express will start to open up doors to what is going to actually help or improve the situation. It's almost like you just have to be you and then works out. It just may not work out in a way that you think. Does that make sense? It's kind of like, well, if I ask for a pay rise from my boss and I don't get it, then that was a waste of time. It's like, no, it wasn't a waste of time. You spoke truth into what your value is in this position or this job. And that's there, and that's been put forward. And that's, you know, and let's say for another example, I don't like to go down long tracks, but like it turns into you lose your job because they're like scared that you're asking for your value. Something else will come along where you'll be treated valued, right? Whereas let's just say you didn't say anything, you'd be still feeling that way, but not speaking honesty to it. So that's why this is important. That's why I say it doesn't always work out in the way we think it will work out, but at least, and it might cause other like stresses, but at least you've spoken truth to the point or the matter. And lastly, you've got the Knight of Wands go forward with pride and passion. Very true here. You know, following the beat of your own drum as well. This isn't a person who is following following someone else. They're following their own beat of their drum. There's freedom here, and you can see the black horse in the background. That's very true to freedom. So this is gaining independence and freedom. Really nice cards coming through for your reading today. There's a lot here. I know I probably waffled on a bit, but I really want to get the true message out each time of how the cards want to express themselves. And that kind of feels true to you. You want to live and be as open and truthful as you can and desire to be, right? So you can at least feel that honesty and truth coming out. Like I say, sometimes that doesn't mean everything's going to work out 100% correct or perfect in your mind, but it will lead to situations where you'll see the benefit in time. It's just like, it's kind of like it's just the path that has to be walked, so to speak. But you've got time. Stuck in the mud is annoying when we want to get somewhere, but it's also good for contemplation. You'll get somewhere for sure. You've got the Knight of Wands. This is more freedom than more going around circles. Like if you're going around the circles very freely, that's not always the best thing. The best thing is taking time, moving nowhere, and then moving in the direction that you know is right for you. Okay, I'm going to leave that there and stop. Thank you so much for letting me read for you today. I hope everything works out really well for you in this situation. It feels like really good if you just, just focus on you. It sounds selfish, but it's 100% not. It's focusing on what is like right for you. And I really like that. That's the real transformation. It's the transformation of self, not situation or external. This is the transformation of self and how you see yourself and value your body, mind, and soul. Okay, thank you for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, pile number 3. So you've chosen orange calcite for your reading in regards to how can you help improve or, level up a situation or a particular connection, etc. You've chosen orange calcite with boosting self-esteem, expressing sexuality, psychological healing, and energetic living. So it's a lot of like power, right? This feels like power. And it might be a little bit putting off calling it power exactly, but it does feel like recalling power or bringing back like the fire within, focusing on your energy. Okay, so let's pull some cards. I'm going to take this one. Excuse me. Now this one's becoming the star of this particular reading today. So there's 4 of these cards. So there's a lot of oracle cards in this reading. And I believe, honestly, it feels like because it's in your hands. Like this is really in your hands. This isn't about old patterns or old kind of stories. This is about taking command of the situation. Well, okay. We'll take that card. Movement card coming out reversed. There's 2 sides to this why this like kind of like slammed out. One is like you can't run away from the situation. There's no like just avoiding it forever, right? This is something that is going to, what would you say? It doesn't feel like backtracking, but it's like 1 step back, 2 steps forward type thing. There's progress on it, but just maybe not in a quick, easy, simple way. Okay. And I'll pull these once I've got more information. Okay, so how can you improve a situation? You've got the Akarabamalu with the cuneiform. This is friction, communication, and gossip. This is about information, the more you know. And it's interesting because I just watched, finished watching Bridgerton, and at the end, I won't go into too much details actually. I'll just say this, so I won't spoil it, but I'll say like there's a talk around, what is gossip? Gossip is information. And so what we do with that information is powerful, right? That kind of thing, information is power. And so the more you know, the more you'll be able to help improve the situation or at least refresh it if it's not something that can be easily remedied. And you've got here this scorpion. It could be something that's draining your energy as well. And I don't want to say like a vampire, like energy vampire. It's not like that. It's just like if I put a lot of information into what's going to happen next week, like sorry, not a lot of information, a lot of energy, then that's draining my energy to what I could be dealing with right now. It's like I'm just focusing on what's happening in the future. I'm not focusing on now. When really the future's not here, now's here. So focus on now. That kind of thing. So it could be something that's pulling focus. But yeah, causing, sometimes a little heat or friction, which is interesting talking about expressing sexuality. It's like that that fire. Okay. You have slow and steady. Yep, there's no rush with this. This is a very clean card. Slow and steady is like in the more positive aspect, whereas there's a couple of other cards that are slowly, but that's because of like more caution. This isn't about being cautious. This is about taking your time, getting as much information as you can about how you feel about the situation, what's happening in it, because that's going to be more important than a response or an action right now. You've got the magical map guide. Now she is in reverse. She kind of like helps guide you towards a goal or something like that. But like I said with the movement, it does feel like it has to take a step back. And so the magical map guide isn't really necessarily not working, right? She's just like, it has to be something has to be re-looked, has to be pulled back, which is funny, me talking about like the future, right? Focusing on the future and not the now. And then it's like, well, you're talking about the past. You could be focusing on the past. And it's like, yeah, focusing on the past, not to relive the past, but to clear something or to understand something or to leave or kind of like pull out of ourselves and leave in the past so that it stops interrupting our present. Does that make more sense, hopefully? So I want to make sure there was no contradiction. So you've got unexpected visitors reverse. That's kind of interesting. The only thing I get from that straight away with this like rabbit here and this person peeking through, it's kind of like you do have to reopen this door or open this hatch. When you do though, it's gonna bring in waves. It's kind of like there's a card from the Monster Garden and it's like he opens the door and a whole bunch of stuff comes in. It's overwhelming sometimes. But it's like, at least it's out. At least it's all out in the open. You can see it. It's no longer in darkness. And some of that stuff you wanted to come back because it's part of you. And some of it you're like, oh, that's like stuff I need to leave in the past or like let go of. But it can't be behind the door. It has to be let go of into like the wild, let's say, and transformed in some sense. Okay. So you've got Kundalini Sea Queen. This is Command Self-Resilience. This is definitely about bringing power back into self. The Kundalini Sea Queen. It's an interesting one. It talks about command and self-resilience. Resilience is it's generally about past things, right? It's about stuff that we've kind of like been through or had to deal with from the past. And it's like, hopefully things will just work out and I won't have to deal with it. This is about pulling it back into your power and taking your time with it, of course. But like I said, slow and steady. This doesn't feel like something that's going to, like, let's say if at the craziest chain of events everything went wrong, I still don't feel like it would be so bad that it would be crippling. It just feels like it would be challenging, right? So that's what I mean, like, it's not going to lead to anything where you will never come back from. But the more energy you put into having command over it and like putting your own stamp on this situation, that's going to really help guide it into a direction. Like you become the magical map shapeshifter. This isn't a guide. This is like being your own guide. Like that's why it's pointing down, because it's like down to earth, down to you. Okay, and you also have peaceful passageway, which is choose serenity. Yeah, I don't know if this is like a complication with a person or a particular past like loved one, like an ex, what I mean by past, or like family or something like that. But choosing like to go into it with the idea of making peace with something or honestly wanting to let go of something, that's really where it's at, because that's how you can improve the situation. Now, if we were talking about, let's say all this is like fine, but we're talking about work, we're talking about conflicts at work and things like that, take that into consideration as well. Slow and steady, do what you need to do, start putting the power back into you to make the choices and decisions of where you're going to go. What kind of work is going to give you that life, that kind of thing. Where are you moving? Are you moving backwards or are you moving in a direction that feels right? Sometimes we have to take a step back and take some time with what we've got and then start to move forward. Like it's like divine timing, right? Like this month might be terrible for asking for a pay rise or terrible for asking for like training because it's so busy. So you want to wait until it like starts to quiet down and then put your interest, like I would like to go into this area for a day and just learn the job, you know, something like that. Okay, so you've got the strength card. Do like that. I always see the strength card as overcoming fears, overcoming worries, overcoming like what could happen. Because generally when you're in it, you can just deal with it. There's never really situations, I feel, majority of the time, and sure some, it's so overwhelming that they kind of like faint or can't deal with it, but how often has that happened in life, right? hardly ever. Don't be afraid of the Three of Swords. It can be because we're talking about something that we don't want to be hurt by. And of course, take your time with it. If it's too difficult and you don't want to work on it or improve the situation right now, that's fine as well. Remember, it's slow and steady. No one's telling you to rush. But if it's clearing out an opportunity to heal, then this is definitely a good time to like start that process of healing. You want that one? Yeah, starting to reframe how you view it. It could be like I'm just going to put an example, like a really difficult X, right? And you have to still deal with them, let's say in some kind of way. Instead of seeing them like, oh, this is just going to be a brain drain or like a whole lot of energy drain, it's probably worth draining all that energy out in a conversation or a talk and then moving on with it and seeing like, you know, benefits and purpose and like, at least now I tried my best, I'm going to move forward because I've done everything I can. So it's kind of like it gives you an enlightened moment, even if at the time there is grief and, you know, energy drain from it. Because here she's pouring a whole bunch of water down into this like magical pit. But it's like, you know how people talk about houses are money pits? Like you can just keep throwing money at it and because there's always problems. I mean, absolutely true if you're a homeowner. It's blessed to be a homeowner, right? Especially in this kind of, this day and environment. However, that doesn't mean it's like easy. This could be changing the way you see things too, the way it's perceived in your head. Once that starts to uncurl, it's like you start to see how your mind is working with it. And mastery over ourselves is such a huge boon, honestly. And I feel like you're on that path of self-mental mastery. Seers here psychological healing in this. This is really like getting me. I love this for you too. The full new beginnings. I feel like you probably are getting into a point of new beginning. I know it's not really like a prediction type thing, this reading. It's about what can you do, but it does feel like you are headed towards this anyway. Why not be the one who kind of like leads the sails, points the whatever sail. I don't know. I'm not a boat person, but you know, changes the whoopity whoop thing in the water to the direction. Because even this, she kind of reminds me of like a Polynesian person, like, yeah, I know her from the sea. And there was hugely big time like constellation navigators of the sea, right? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. These people from wherever they came from, like mainland and throughout Asia or wherever, and colonized Polynesia, right? Colonized the Pacific, which is wild. Back in the day when all they had was like these kind of like, I guess it would be similar to like a canoe or a kayak or something like that. In New Zealand they were called waka. But you know, those kind of things, like it's a big trip to just hope you find some islands. And I assume they had map making or something, or maybe it was like all by verbal communication. So, you know, this is anyway. The reason why this is coming through is like it's time to navigate and point into the unknown, because it's going to bring you the benefits. That crystal there is like a guidance beacon. I honestly don't feel like you can it's not like you can't avoid this, but I don't feel like you're ever going to miss out on this opportunity. It's like something that's locked in. It's like locked in into the writing, right? It's etched into stone. I was like, why am I pointing over here? But that's right, this. Sometimes I get guided and I'm like, what am I doing? All right, Seven of Swords, right? So, you know, there's no shortcutting here with the Seven of Swords. It has to be put into the light. And I feel like once it's into the light or the moonlight's bright and shining on you, especially with all these birds, like they're calling, it brings a light to it. It's no longer in shadows. And once it's like in a video game when you're versing like I don't know, something that has like a stealth ability, right? Once it's out into the light, then you can start dealing with it. And so it has to be brought into the light. Okay, interesting here. This is all capable, like in your capable hands. Don't be afraid to take a step back to move forward. You could see that as I saw that when I went from full-time work to part-time work. I thought that was a big step back, but I realized it just opened up so many doors into other opportunities and things that I could be doing with my life. And I was like, oh, I don't have to just keep doing this, because it was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm always choosing my own destiny and that kind of thing, and always doing whatever I'm doing. But I was kind of living out a, I don't know, some kind of life that I thought was correct for me. And, you know, shifting to part-time work really, really helped open up the doors to expand more creatively. And so that might be you. It might be like getting into a position that's higher and, you know, has more responsibilities and stuff, but it's exactly what you want. Because we're all here to live the lives that we feel called to. So, you know, just because I feel like that was right for me, that doesn't mean it's right for everyone. You got to find what's right for you. Okay, slow and steady. Right. That is your reading today, Pile 3. Hopefully this has helped. It's a really beautiful reading. I really enjoyed doing it. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.